handle my ropes for me. Between us, we managed to get through to the 5th, into the 6th, and from the 6th into the 7th. We were trailing behind us a large air pipe and a communication cable. We tried lashing them together with a floating pipe so that it would be easier to get through, but it was no good. We just could not get any further. We got to the end of our, literally to the end of our tether. So we packed in. And it was obviously an unsuitable way to explore caves anyhow. We needed self-contained equipment. This is typical of the equipment we used in the early stages of self-contained diving. It's a rebreathing apparatus. That is, the diver breathes through this equipment into a counter lung here and then breathes back his own breath. Repeats that. When we breathe, we use up oxygen, and there's a store of oxygen here which replaces that which you use, and we produce carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide, it has to be taken out, and that's taken out by this canister which contains soda lime. The oxygen is metered through this regulator, but you can let extra through if you've misjudged the rate at which it flows. This is the mouthpiece which we held in our mouth, which very effectively prevented any attempts to communicate. You had to spit out the mouthpiece and speak a few words and then try and grab the mouthpiece again before you had run out of breath. The endurance of this set's about somewhere between an hour and 2 hours, about an hour for the main cylinder and an extra half hour for the emergency.
This type of apparatus was used throughout the 40s and 50s, when equipment generally was much easier to come by after the war. Frogman's dry suits, for instance, were available and led cave divers to consider the practicality of swimming rather than bottom walking as they'd done till then. It was slow to catch on, but gradually fins replaced the weighted boots, and with this added mobility, exploration in Wookey yielded access to further chambers. 9, 10, and 11.
The feelings of nostalgia I had there are very much echoed when I come back here, almost 50 years since we started work. I feel it's part of me. It's somehow I possess a bit of this cave, or this cave possesses me. Although I have a one-track mind, and when I gave up caving I thought, well, that's the end of it. In fact, it has followed me round, although I haven't taken active part in it. Coming back now stirs up all the memories, and of the people, many of them gone forever.
People like Navy frogman Gordon Marriott.
He was to swim through from the 9th chamber into the 11th chamber, which is a big, completely submerged one. He went there along with Davis and 1 or 2 other divers. And on the way back, alas, he ran out of oxygen on his main supply, and we think that he dropped his spare cylinder, and the conditions in the 8th chamber where he dropped it are so bad that he had no hope of finding it. He went up to the surface. There is a surface there. Came down again trying to find the line, but by the time he found it, it was too late. He ran out of oxygen just in the region between the 8th chamber and the 7th chamber.